Hey, what's up? I published my review for Diablo 4 a few days ago. A buddy of mine got back to me and said that it sounded like I hated the game, and I thought that was kind of funny because, and I was also surprised because it was not my intention. Like, I was not writing. That was not my intention. It did remind me a little bit though, because I was thinking about. It's funny. I never really thought about it much before in the past because I would tell friends like my score for a game or whatever, like 8 out of 10 and stuff like that, and they'd be like, "You sure complain about it a lot for giving it that high of a score." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's still a really, good and fun game to play and stuff, So it reminds me of my Watch Dogs Legion review because all I did was trash on the game. Like most of my review was just like, what the hell, man? But I loved the game. Like I loved it. I loved. I was happy to play through it. It's still the worst in the trilogy. It's easily the worst by far. But the campaign was really good. I really liked the stories a lot. I liked the world a lot. And that's what I liked about it. Like that, I felt like that was worth playing just for the stories and stuff, Anyways, but yeah, my intention was not to make it sound like I hated this game, so I was surprised by that. Anyways, I'm gonna read my review. What I do hate about it is that it's just not Diablo anymore. That's pretty much it. It reminds me of other game series that also went in different directions that I did not enjoy. And I stopped. Resident Evil 4 was my nope, this isn't Resident Evil anymore. And meanwhile, everybody else loved it, which I thought was funny. But no, I still right now prefer the old fixed camera angles, and I would rather a new game be like that. Because those were cool. It was what made the game what it was. Like that, people say, "Oh no, it was limited by technology." Who cares? That was what made the game what it was. That it's not the same anymore. Same thing has happened with Final Fantasy. Many different. I don't know. I can't remember them all, but yeah, happened with Final Fantasy, the Watch Dogs. Every game got worse somehow. Like that was a. Anyways, so it's when a series changes directions. I remember the same thing for Final Fantasy. Like I hadn't played Final Fantasy in a long time, the series, but I had loved the old games. Like that's the first game I really played in the Final Fantasy series was Final Fantasy 3. Back then, which is now 6. Back then, 3 was whatever. I don't want to get into that whole thing, but that's kind of funny. Anyways, yeah, so, but then I hadn't played them for a long time, and I wasn't really interested in turn-based RPGs and stuff like that. I'm more into action games, so when they started doing, action-y Final Fantasies, I was like, oh, cool, I'll check it out, But it's a different direction. So I like spin-offs. I'm all for spin-offs. I think an idea of a spin-off is cool, but make sure it's a spin-off and you're not changing the entire direction of what the game used to be, because then it's not the same anymore. It's just not the same. It's like, what the heck, why even have the same title? Why does this have the same title of this game? It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it, So if it's gonna be a spin-off, make it very clear. Make it clear that the game is going to be a spin-off, but also keep your fans also, updated, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's how everything is. I forgot. I just remembered I mentioned in this article too, so I'll save that. Yeah, so I as a different game, as something that I don't want it to be, I love Diablo 4. I think it's a cool game. It's a mess, and there's a lot of horrible things about it. But it's an excellent campaign. Gameplay is fun enough. I would rather play Part 3. 3 is so much better to me than Part 4. But the problem there is I'm kind of just mostly done with 3. If I'm in the mood, I'll throw it on. I still sometimes I'll throw it on and play it. But I'd rather play the newer version in a newer world and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm playing a lot of Diablo 4 because it's easy to pass time, you know, kind of. Right now, it's the easiest way. Anyways, I rambled on too much, I know, but whatever. I feel like talking about this, you know, that's what happens. But yeah, it's just not. It's World of Diablo Craft now. That's what I call. It really is. It's World of Diablo Craft. They took World of Warcraft, made it isometric, and called it Diablo 4. Pretty much. Pretty much. All right. I had other stuff, and then I lost it while I got just, you know, I remember, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just rambling and stuff, and I meant to just share my review. So I'm going to read my review here. I meant to have some gameplay on for this. I wanted to. My window capture is not working correctly right now for some reason. It might be a Windows 11 thing. It might be something else. I don't know. I tried many times. I was like, why won't it? And then I was like, screw it. But I really did. I had my own gameplay. I was going to have my own, as I've streamed several hours of it, I guess, so far. And I had my own character up that I was going to share my gameplay of, and it just doesn't want to work right. So lame. All right, so here we go. This is my Diablo 4 review, and I might pop in some extra thoughts. I know I was planning to. Anyways, let's get started. Diablo 4 review. Here we go. I say these things as a fan of the entire Diablo series. I've been playing since the first game and even enjoyed the first game on the first PlayStation console, which I thought couldn't be done on a controller, and was pleasantly surprised to find out how wrong I was. Yeah, I know that's a long sentence. When I wrote that, I was like, dude, I don't even know how to write this better, so screw it. And there's a couple parts in this whole review where I did that, and I was like, one day I'll figure out how to rewrite that properly. Anyways, the third game, I had actually forgotten that the first Diablo game was on PlayStation, the first PlayStation, and I was reminded because like people were talking about Diablo 3, how you couldn't make that work on a console with a controller or whatever, and I was like, wait, what? And I remembered, I think I'd been reminded by somebody else too, but I just remembered, I was like, oh yeah, I played that on the first PlayStation, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Like, I would rather play it on a keyboard and mouse, but I was surprised. I was like, whoa, I can't believe this works so good, you know? Same thing for Diablo. Well, you know, all the, like, Final Fantasy did the same thing, you know? I was like, wow, dude. I mean, there's no excuse for World of Warcraft not to be on console at that point, you know? Pretty impressive. Although other than that, anyways, I'm not saying to put it on console. World of Warcraft is dead to me, but anyways, sometimes I like to go back, but yeah, that's just a different thing. I'm mostly just bored of it. Anyways, all right. Diablo 3 was my favorite game, especially after Reaper of Souls. I loved the campaign in Diablo 3, but Reaper of Souls fixed the game, like overhauled everything, added all kinds of new amazing endgame content and stuff. Anyways, the visuals in Diablo 4 are stunning in every way, including amazing environments and animations. The music is superb. The voice acting is excellent. The cinematics have some very cool camera angles that don't take away from the isometric look and feel. The stories are great. It's totally worth playing. It's a great and impressive experience. The rest of what you're about to read is what bothers me, or what I'm going to say. That's funny. I had forgotten that, and I was thinking about it when I reread this sentence too. The cinematics have some very cool camera angles, but don't take away from the isometric look and feel. And that was the previous ones were. The reason I mentioned that was because cinematics before weren't about like integrating the game into it, right? But now they are. Now they rotate the cameras from in game and move it into cinematic stuff and whatever, and it's pretty neat. Like it's cool. I like the way they did the camera angles for. Not every cinematic, but like they did it here and there, and it was cool. Like I dug that. I was like, nice. All right, here we go. My complaints. As impressive as Diablo 4 is in different ways, I make it clear. Look, it's an impressive game. This is why I said this like a few times. I'm like, look, man, it's good. But it's a huge disappointment and no longer Diablo, like what Ubisoft has done to the Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs series, ripping out the heart and soul of the first games and turning it into a mainstream cash grab garbage. BlizzVision has done the same with Diablo. Diablo 4 is like if you want to play a game that's like Diablo but isn't Diablo. That line cracks me up. I remember when I first thought of it, I thought of it like after, I don't remember, the first night of playing. I had played it like 8 to 10 hours that day. And then that night I was like, I already had this feeling from the beta. I wrote beta impressions. I think I did a video, I don't remember. But I had the same thoughts from the beta, and I was like, it killed my hype. It killed my excitement. I was like, oh, I'll play it. The beta murdered any hype I had for this game. And then the night that I had done a long session after the first main game was out and stuff, I was like, it's cool. Like I loved it, but I was like, this is like playing a game that's like Diablo but isn't Diablo. And it kind of made me think about Lost Ark as well. As I play a Lost Ark, and I love Lost Ark. Oh my gosh, that game is incredible. And while I was playing through Lost Ark, you know, I was funny. While I was playing Lost Ark, I kept thinking, man, I really wish the gameplay was more like Diablo, where enemies would come at you, you know, and they just, as you progress through the world, you would slay demons, you know, progressively and stuff as you go. But it plays more like an MMORPG where the mobs are in a set spot and you have to attack them to engage combat and stuff. Otherwise, they'll mostly just avoid you, and you just run through like a million enemies, and it's not, that part sucks. Like, that's not cool. Dungeons in Lost Ark are different because they're they're dungeons. They're designed to murder you, unlike the open world, which is supposed to be like an open world thing. My glasses broke this morning, so anyways, yeah, so I remember playing through Lost Ark and thinking, if the gameplay was more like Diablo, this game would be the most perfect thing I've ever played in this genre. You know, I love Lost Ark. I'm truly impressed. I've had like, I think around 80 hours played. I haven't played in a little while. I never bothered with the cash shop, and every time I looked at the cash shop, I was like, why would anybody even buy this stuff that But anyways, I don't remember why I was saying that, but it was an incredible game. Like, I was loving it. I was blown away, man, you know. So there might be some issues. I don't remember. I just had a really good time. And the only thing I didn't like really was the way that mobs, they're not aggro really, you know. Dungeons are oh my gosh, dungeons, dude. You gotta try Lost Ark, and it would take there's a lot. It's deep. It's really deep. If you're interested in games like Diablo and you still have not tried Lost Ark for whatever reason, get your ass in that game. Get your ass in that game. But it is deep. It does take time. There's a lot to, you know, whatever. It's not hard. It's just there's a lot. But yeah, Lost Ark is incredible. So anyways, I just remember like thinking, like, if the gameplay were more like Diablo, I would prefer it that way, right? And now it's the other way. It's more like this is trying to be an MMORPG, which World of Diablo Craft, and it's just different. And I guess I don't know, man. I mean, I'm wondering. I can't help but wonder if it's just weird. I don't know if they're basing Diablo 4 off of the bad feedback for Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 was near perfection after Reaper of Souls and the continuous updates and the I forget what they did with they made the special rifts of some kind. I don't know, whatever. That game's infinite, like content wise. Like, it's pretty incredible. Like, it's incredible. Damn near perfect, man. So I don't know how we went from that to 4. Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, wait, what happened? Like, why don't we have a better part 3 instead of a completely different game? You know, like, you know what I mean? It's strange. It's just strange. I'm like, what? Anyways, all right, let's continue. I took my time playing through the campaign of Diablo 4 here. I was level 50, which is the normal level cap in Act 3. And the acts in this game in 4 are not... They're more like when you move from map to map, basically. Not like the acts in the previous games where, like, you would I mean, similarly, you do move maps, but you don't. There's no like cinematic in exchange or whatever. You just go through the world, right? So it's different in that sense. Like it, yeah. So Act 3, level 50, which was level cap in the game. And I was nearly level 52 in the Paragon, which is 50. It continues from like 50 is level cap for your main skills, and then Paragon is the extra crap. It's a little different than Part 3. Before I got my mount, I hadn't even gotten my mount. I was in Act 3, hadn't beaten the campaign, was level 52 before I even got my mount. Man, I mean, I took my time. I was not in a rush. I've been in the Discord server and I see all these people like asking, "What's the fastest way to level?" I'm like, dude, it's just having fun, really. Like that is the fastest way to level. You go enjoy yourself. You know, the rush to like whatever certain thing they think they're gonna get to is anyways, it's funny to me. But let's see. And then I hit level 55 just before completing the main campaign. So like probably like before, I think it was before the last cinematic where you face the final boss. I think it was very close to the end of the game where I was level 55, just hit level 55, and then I finished with the last part and it was over. And that was, oh my gosh, dude, I want to see what happens next. I want to see what it was. Good game, good campaign, good stories. Like great, man. All right, sorry. Okay, so the point was I took my time playing through the game. You know, yeah. All right, let's see. The HUD displays large keybind buttons that aren't even on the ability icons. They're just covering up empty space on the screen. Is the target audience people with no brains that are using keyboards for the first time? If players need this, they aren't gamers. This is what happens when you have developers that aren't also gamers. I've noticed this a lot. I'm just like, how do people design a game and never play video games? Like, they don't belong there. Stop hiring people to do things just because they know the mechanics of like technical stuff, but they've never played a video game. Like, what? Why? All right. Why did this get past the beta with no updates? Still talking about the HUD here. Even the alpha player should have mentioned this nonsense. The key commands are better over the icons themselves and in a small part of it, not covering the entire thing. An option to remove them entirely would be cool. Okay, just complain. It drives me nuts. It drove me nuts in the beta too. I was like, dude, it looks like a mobile game HUD, right? Like the interface, like those it's just like, why are these here? Get them off the screen, man. Well, at least blend them into the freaking thing, right? You know, like what is happening? I saw it and I was like, it's like they got their mobile team to do the interface for this game. So we got devs from World of Warcraft turning Diablo into World of Warcraft, and then we got the mobile freaking Diablo devs giving us a stupid interface on the okay. Let's see. Diablo 4 has level scaling for enemies that plays like World of Warcraft, where when you level up, you're suddenly no longer as powerful as you just were 10 seconds ago. This actually happened to me one time. It was very noticeable when I was like, wait, what the hell just happened? I noticed it like here and there, but it was just like instantly I leveled up now, and now all of a sudden I was just like, wait, what? Scaling is unreliable and makes no sense, with many enemies being overly difficult while others are easier in different zones while switching acts and such. It's a mess. This is something that's not as noticeable in the early game, which would have been like the beta 20. Like, you know, it feels grindy like right away. The first thing you notice in Diablo 4 is how slow it feels as far as like leveling and feeling a reward. You know, skilling up is not I have more notes that I know I'm going to talk about that. So, but yeah, no, the scaling, it's fine, but it's just not. I didn't like it in World of Warcraft. It works, you know, but it's not fun. It's not fun to have been a powerful character and then all of a sudden, because you leveled up, you're suddenly underpowered now. Like, it's really stupid. Really stupid. All right. Oh yeah, let me see. All right, so the next two paragraphs are very sloppy to me. Like, I wanted to go back and rewrite these, but I didn't. I was like, I don't know how. It's so I just left them. It's about the itemization and the loot. I believe that PvP balancing ruined PvE itemization somehow, and I could be wrong because I remember Diablo 3's launch had terrible itemization as well. Same exact issue that Diablo 4's loot has right now. Same exact issue. Exactly, it's exactly the same. I just can't make sense of why the itemization in the game is so nonsensical, choosing between plus spell damage or plus spell level and other random nonsense. Stats are now restricted to specific item types. Rings and amulets have stats on them that other gear doesn't get, and vice versa. It's another mess, which I thought this. I added this sentence on after that because I was like, you know what? I do like the idea of different stats on different items. I think it's mostly the variations in nonsensical and unreliable stats that is frustrating. It's so like the idea. It just because everything is just so sloppy, it all feels like crap, you know. So the loot system sucks. It reminds me of Diablo 3 at launch, where it's nearly impossible to find upgrades. Sure, there's a lot of interesting loot, but it's such a mess that you get the most random stats on items. One sec. So, okay. I get endless amounts of sorcerer items that have strength and dexterity stats. That was exactly the same thing that happened in Diablo 3 at launch, which was later fixed. And you know, they also have the thing where you can, which Diablo 4 has as well, where you can change your stats on your items. But why am I getting stats on items that don't make sense in the first place? Is what bugs me. You know, the RNG, that do RNG right. Make RNG fun, not stupid. You know what? I don't look. It's been a long time since I played Diablo 2. I did get the remake finally. I didn't play hardcore into it. I got to like level 20 or something, I think. I don't know. And I've thought about going and playing that again now instead of part 4. But I'm going to keep playing part 4. I'm going to be doing whatever anyways. But I don't remember, like, okay, I maybe it had it, but I don't remember Diablo 2 having like items that had like just stats that made no sense, man. Maybe it did. Maybe it's just been a really long time and I don't remember that it had really stupid stats. It could have. I don't remember it being this is so bad. And Diablo 3 did fix it, you know. So why the Diablo 3 not only fixed this crap, but also added the option to like change your stats on the items and stuff. You know, it's funny, man. It's funny. It's like, what? Okay. It seems to me this was I had gotten all kinds of impressive loot in the beta, which I did. Like my source in the beta was like decked, man, like super early too. It was nuts. And then it seems to me that the beta had enhanced loot drops turned on or something, because it's just ridiculous. Yeah, they get you with that grind. They take away the fun to get you to like keep playing longer and paying money for stuff that you don't want to grind for. They just take the fun out of the fun, right? Like it's like, yo, man, greed shouldn't ruin your games, man. Stop it. Have an option to buy stuff, but don't make everything else. That reminds me of the loot house in Diablo 3, and I'll never forget this. And it still does not make sense to me. They said the reason they removed the loot house was because they wanted to make the loot better. And I never... Why can't you have both? Why couldn't you have had good loot and an auction house? I remember, dude, I was like, dude, before that game even came out, I had this in my head. I'm like, dude, no way. There's gonna be a chance to make money off of this. My whole thought was like, dude, I'm gonna be selling items for like 10 cents each, a quarter, $1, depending on the stats, you know, right? Like if it's super rare, I would sell it for like $1, maybe $5, just depending on how rare and good an item was, right? But I wasn't thinking about like, my main thing was like, I'm gonna make money off of dimes and quarters. That was like 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. I was planning this. I was planning to just like bombard the auction house with a bunch of like, not like trash, but like cheap items, like good items for cheap. Cause like, I don't care. I'm gonna be playing the game anyways, right? That was my thought. I'm gonna be playing the game. I know especially with how I played Diablo 2, I was like, yeah, you get endless loot when you play as much as some of us play, you know. I mean, you will never not see anything. Like, you've seen it all, right? So I was planning to make just little bits of money here and there, and it was going to add up. That was my plan, and I was like, yeah, man, if that's going to be possible, that's going to be cool. I wasn't going to rip people off. That's just stupid. It'd have been free money either way. Free money. I mean, 10 cents, hell, I'll take it, you know. But and then the loot sucked really bad. And their answer to that was, we have to remove the auction house to make the loot better. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that's incredibly stupid and terrible logic. And it just goes to show that to them, as a company or whatever, they can't have both. Like, they can't. Not that the player can't. They can't. They don't know how to handle fun and money at the same time. Just money. That's not. Give me money. Give me all the money. Well, it's funny, man. Whatever. Anyways. All right. All right. Then this is the worst part. Which is also why I didn't put it as the first thing. So whatever. But to me, this is the worst part of my complaints of the game. And this is something I had noticed in the beta, and I called it out when I was just like, what? Okay, then there's the copy paste of assets in every single piece of content. I wonder how many different zones there actually are in the game, because it doesn't seem like a lot. Entirely different forts have the exact same layout with a different coloring, different filters, and asset placements, but it's all the same. Literally. Are people really not expected to notice this, or are we just expected to not care that every single dungeon and area that we travel through is exactly the same? The visual effects and details are incredible. They're just gorgeous. This is still making me react, what the fuck? Imagine playing the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, and every single level is exactly the same as the first level, but with different colors and asset placement. That is Diablo 4. No exaggeration. None. No exaggeration. And it's gorgeous. It's stunning. It is so beautiful. And it's copy pasted. Like, I mean, we're used to copy paste, right? Like, that's a normal complaint gamers have had for many. I've never seen anything like this before. And after seeing this happen in Diablo 4, a major game like this, and they're okay with putting this out. They're okay with it. It can only get better, right? Right? You know, and yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. I don't mean to be so. I'm generally like over pissed for many reasons that are completely unrelated to Diablo 4. Some of you might know what I'm pissed about. Whatever. So sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. The copy paste also includes the repeatable open world quests. It's the same exact dialogue every time. There's maybe 3 different versions of this same quest. There's lots of great enjoyable content in the game. I'm just saying, this is ridiculous. Hold on a sec. I have to have a quick drink of water. Give me a sec. Okay. Sorry, I did have a drink before I started this, but I needed another one. Okay, here we go. Here's a list of smaller things that suck. I did that for fun mostly. Leveling isn't fun. Now focused on fetch quests. Giant glowing feet for climbing or jumping events. This is the same complaint I would generally with the HUD being hand-holding nonsense. No pet that loots gold, no pets at all. Reskill costs money, and there's no real incentive to try different builds while still being punished for wanting to try other builds. Yeah, it's gross. Spellcasting feels tedious rather than fun. Too much mana management and no mana potions. Spend more time managing resources than slaying. It's fine and you get used to it. I'm just saying it would obviously take a major rebalance to change this. Yeah. Destructible environments, never drop any loot. Nearly pointless to explore because all the quests will take you everywhere and the maps are just copy pasted everywhere. There's a lot of backtracking. I read some bookshelves and then immediately after I started a quest to read the bookshelves I just read. That happened. It was towards the end of the campaign too. It didn't happen a lot. It happened one time that I remember that happening. But the point is, exploring is practically useless. Practically. Yeah, especially, not just because you will end up going to these areas anyways for quests or whatever, but because the big one for me is literally the same exact copy paste sections. It's like they have 10 different little pieces of 10 different little pieces that they just rearrange and copy paste everywhere. Exploring is no go. You can do it. You can. I'm not saying don't explore. You're going to come to the same conclusion I had, I imagine. Can't view world map from dungeon map. Just a complaint. Thingy. Some parts look like Diablo 3 reused and reskinned assets. I don't blame them exactly, but you know. Open world events are like Destiny patrols. That's true. Paragon traits are garbage and uninspiring. Yeah, no, Paragon is. Lore books, journals have the same colors as magic items, so they're easy to miss. And it took me a while to notice that too. I was like, oh no, how many lore books have I missed? Because I thought they were like just regular blue magic items that I didn't want to loot. It's kind of funny. Shop prices are ludicrous. Should at least include some extra premium coins with every single purchase at these prices. 0 lessons learned from previous games. How? 0 lessons learned from previous games. Yeah. It reminds me of like the pet thing. Like why? Even World of Warcraft has like little companion pets, right? Like, and I imagine those will be added. I mean, it's just like this was not a finished game or something, right? Right? Like, and I'm not like campaign wise. Wow, man, you know, wow. Loved it as a game to play. I'm just saying, like, I don't. And people trashed on Anthem. Like, dude, this game got 10s, man, 10s, fucking 10s everywhere. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, man. All right, some things in this list could use more detailed explanation. I thought it was funny. I just don't care that much about getting deeper into them. And that was the thing too. Like I didn't mean to. This could have been a million times worse. Oh, so easily. My intention was just basic comparisons to previous games for the most part, and also being treated like a fucking newborn baby with the interface, like the HUD. Seriously, they were, like I was talking about, like the glowing feet for climbing and jumping ladders and stuff, like, and not on top of the glowing feet is the giant icon marker that click this to go over this, like, anyways. I don't remember what I was saying. Because I mean, there's so much I can nitpick, and I don't want to. That was not my intention. My intention was just basic, general complaints of like, why is this so much worse in all these areas? Like, you know, like it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Unless they got entirely new game developers, and this is their first game they've ever made, and they never played any of the previous Diablo games, not any of them. I don't understand. How are we here? What is this? What is this? So yeah, I know as I was saying this stuff out in my review, I did not intend to sound like I hated the game, but yeah, no, I get it. you know, I mean, I don't mean, it's mostly, if I had played this game and only this game and not the previous Diablo games, I would have been blown away by this, even with the copy paste. Even with the copy paste, I would have thought this was a 10/10 game, which as an experience, I think it's at least a 9. Dude, I loved it, man. I have a jillion complaints, but I loved playing through it. You know, it's just, I say it's not Diablo anymore. All right. I need another drink. I didn't expect to, but I'm gonna have another drink. Give me a sec. Okay, there's more. We're almost at the end here. Alright, what happened with the developers of Diablo 3? That game was near perfect after Reaper's Souls, which I think is funny. I know that everybody else would call me a nut job or an idiot for saying this. I don't care. Diablo 3 is incredible. Currently has the best endgame I've ever experienced in a video game. It's endless and incredible. Endless and incredible. The loot system could still be better even now, but the fun is still there and it's damn good. And I remember, you know, it's weird. I always thought it was, they changed that loot system so many times, like it was strange. But I throughout the years of playing Diablo 3, you could see like when they made loot good, and you can tell it's not just your character, because it was just strange. Like it was just, you could tell they were throwing switches somewhere. Like you could just tell. Anyway, I cannot believe that if the same developers of 3 made 4, it would be the same game that it is. Instead, they grabbed developers from World of Warcraft and had them make it. You know, like what? Diablo 3 also had an impressive and fun to use skill system. You could easily change anywhere from 2 to 20 different playstyles on the fly. Diablo 4 comes nowhere close to it. Not even close. Doesn't even have half the amount of builds that you could get in Diablo 3. Like, how does this happen? How does that happen? Not even half the builds of Diablo 3. I saw it in the beta. I said it. I said these things in previous, when I talked about the beta. I was like, yeah, this is no good. Like, how do we go from 3 to this? It is worse to me. Great game. Like I said, I would say a 9 experience, but they should be called out for all this crap. It should be like, come on, man, come that. What? The Diablo grind used to be about enjoying the gameplay, skill builds, and RNG loot. Now it's just a grind with no real feel of reward, reminiscent of what World of Warcraft was also turned into, because the same thing happened there. Now the RNG is what shows up in the shop. RNG. There's also 2 expansions already confirmed for this game. There's already 2 expansions. 2, not 1. 2. They're already. Oh, we've got 2 more expansions for you guys. You know, I mean, come on. Combined with their insane shop prices, and you should really know the only thing they care about. When a tale is old the time, but Diablo 4 is a very impressive and enjoyable experience. It's just not what I would expect or want from the series gameplay wise. Welcome to World of Diablo-craft. It's not Diablo anymore. Thanks for reading Game On. And I mentioned, I forgot about this. I just mentioned, by the way, quote, Activision Blizzard fires World of Warcraft game designer for making fun of corporate greed. This is a real thing, and it's the one developer that got fired he wasn't the only one that came up with the jokes to put in for corporate greed, but he was the one that got fired because he was like the lead or whatever. I get, right, you know, that's all. Like, I mean, and what's really weird, the thing that was funny about that is they pointed out they have other jokes that also make fun of corporate greed in the game. Like what? Like wait, something a little too personal apparently, which I thought was funny. But anyways, yeah. So look, you know, I mean, I get it. There is a lot of frustration involved with going from previous games that I loved and into a new game that I don't. Is not the same anymore. You know, like I stopped really being interested in Resident Evil after 4. Just like, well, I played the games, you know, but I'm like, it's not the same. And I forget what, I know there's other games too, I'm not remembering right now, where that same kind of a thing happened. You know, like Assassin's Creed. The new one looks all right. We'll see. I mean, it looks like they brought back like parkour, which was something that got lost in the more detailed worlds and bigger worlds, I guess, you know. Anyways, yeah, no. So Diablo 4 is weird to me because I think that I can't. It's funny to me because as having, I don't know. I have this thought of where like I'm like I would not recommend this game for a Diablo fan, as a game in general. Even then, it's like just that copy paste of the map design. I've never seen anything like it before. Maybe I just haven't noticed it, but that makes sense. Even so, this is so noticeable. You know, it's so it's literally everything. Everything. It's nuts. It's beautiful. It's a stunningly gorgeous game. It's so beautiful. It's the detail in it is you know, like, man, you know, it's impressive. It's really impressive. The story was great. Campaign so good. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I really want to see what happens. I'm just like, dude, wait, no, that ending was good, man. To me, anyways. And I'm not trying to hype it up. I was just like, whoa. And then, you know, what's funny is like I'm playing the different characters, you know, and I was like, now I need to pay more attention to that one character because, like, I didn't like. I mean, I did pay attention, but I didn't realize that one of the main characters was like an actual main character. She just, because early on she feels kind of like a side character. I guess they did that with part 3 as well, that one chick. But yeah, I didn't realize she was going to turn into like this super main character thing, and then I was like, man, I forget how this started. I need to go see how this all started because I just forgot. I was like, how did we get here? Because this is amazing. And I did pay attention, but like I took my time. I don't store all this story stuff in my head. Whatever. I don't store all that stuff in my head. I don't memorize it and stuff. I do enjoy it though, and Diablo 4 was a great. It's funny. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it makes me so mad. There's so many things about this game that make me really mad. But I loved it, you know, and I'm still playing it. Mostly the main reason I'm still playing it is because it's easy. Whatever. I would rather play better games. Honestly, I would. It's easy to zombify myself into, I guess, you know, like World of Warcraft. You get into the grind and you're just grinding, what kind of a thing, whatever, you know. I would rather play part 3, but like I said, I'm mostly done with the game. Like I love Diablo 3, but like played enough of it, you know. Yeah, so I actually, after even now, I was thinking, I'd rather play freaking Lost Epic, man. I should just play those. But also I have interest. I do want to see how some of the builds play, and I am curious about some other end game stuff in Diablo 4. The other classes, want to get them further and see how they feel. I really don't like. Oh yeah, I'd mentioned this. Sorry, excuse me. I've forgotten. I didn't mention many details on the leveling isn't fun in my first like list of smaller things that suck, which you would think it would be a big thing. Like a lot, they're not just. It's like what I think what I meant to say is a smaller list of things that suck, not a list of smaller things that suck. Because whatever. Anyways, But I didn't get into super detail with that. It feels more grindy. The loot is unrewarding, much like Diablo 3 at launch. I mean, I remember, I'll never forget, I was level 60 wearing level 20 gear because the loot was so bad. And it's almost the exact same, almost the same in this game. The main thing here is just the stats being nonsensical and all over the place. It reminds me too a little bit of Marvel Heroes, which is because I remember, the thing that bugged me about Marvel Heroes, I loved Marvel Heroes, man. It was incredible. I really wish that game could come back. I still can't believe that they couldn't have brought it back under, like, it just burned. It's just like, how do you let such a good game, what? Anyways, it did until right before it died. So it was out years, like 5 or 6 years at least. I don't know. It was out a while. And I don't mean like officially launched. It was an old game, like beta wise. Like that game was out for quite a while. And one of my first complaints of Marvel Heroes in the beginning, or most until the very friggin' end, was that there were too many stats in the game. Too many stats. It was just like this insane. You could have 20 different stats on a single piece of loot, and you're equipping all kinds of loot. So it was interesting and it had cool stuff, but it was too much. It was just like, dude. And so this one isn't as bad, but the stat system itself is I don't know, I think it's sloppy. I think I've been trying to work it out while playing the game, and I've been trying to get into it, but it's just with the randomness on top of how many different stats don't make sense. Like I mentioned, the one was like whatever. Oh my gosh, I think yeah, it's weird, man. It's funny though, but yeah. All right, anyways, yeah, it's a cool game. It's a cool game. It's just not Diablo anymore, and I would rather play part 3 as a Diablo game. As a Diablo game, I would rather play part 3. As a game to pass time, 4 is cool. The open world content that's like Destiny patrols, and it's funny because it reminded me exactly of Destiny patrols, and they're fun. Like, I love Destiny. Destiny's a fun game if I just want to go shoot stuff and just play an arcade shooter type game. It's great. It's great, but it is in that sense as well, just not a lot of content, man. You're playing the same exact things 100,000 times over again, and yeah, the open world quests in Diablo 4 are kind of like Destiny patrols, where like anyways, it's just repeatable same mission over and over and over again, to just gain XP basically, which the content itself is fine and fun. It's just it's just funny. Whatever. Anyways, I think I had a few more things that I wanted to also tag on, but this has gone on really long. I didn't expect that, and I know I did a bunch of rambling and stuff. I am feeling a little bit better. I've had a really bad day today, man. My glasses are broken right now. This frame on the left side is I don't know how, but it's just kind of sticking to this over here. It's just sticking somehow at the moment. I woke up and it was I don't know how that happened. I'm like, what happened? Anyways, and that was right before I had to start work, so my day has not been going very good. So whatever. Yeah, no, like I mentioned too, like this is not intent. That's why I have complaints, man. I have complaints, dude. And I like, yo, yeah. So I don't mean to be so angry, but I am an angry person. Anyways, sorry. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you have a good day. Let me know what you think if you've played it, if you're interested in playing it. And I'm not trying to turn you away from the game at all. Some people, which I thought was funny, and one of my thoughts was like, I wonder if Diablo 4 is going to have a Reaper of Souls like expansion a year later that actually changes the game and makes it the way it should have been at launch, right? Because that's what Reaper of Souls is incredible, and it only kept getting better. I could not believe what they did with Reaper of Souls. Not only was Reaper of Souls amazing, like so good, but then they kept adding all kinds of free new content to it, dude. Like, that reminded me of Diablo 2. You know, that was, you bought that game once and there were constant updates for years, man. Free updates, game-changing, enormous updates, dude. For free. You know, and Reaper of Souls reminded me of that. Like, not quite the same level, but I mean, different time, different, but it reminded me of that. I was like, wow, I'm telling you, I still see people trash on Diablo 3, and I'm like, did they all stop and never play Reaper of Souls? I loved the game in the base game. I had my complaints, it had issues, it sucked. There were things about it that drove me nuts. Specifically the loot system, which made no sense because that's what the game is about, you know. But Reaper of Souls flipped that game around, man. Complete, like, it should have launched that way, and it's amazing. So if you've never played after Reaper of Souls, you really should. Especially now, like, if you don't want to play Diablo 4, you should go play Reaper of Souls if you never got around playing. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, it was that good, man. And it only kept getting better. It kept getting better, dude. Like, it's great. All right, anyways, take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.